Hello, everyone. Welcome to FS Changemakers. And as usual, we have a terrific woman joining us to talk about her life and accomplishments. We have Raspreet Sidhu with us. She is the captain of Indian women's basketball team, has been playing for the Indian national team for the last 17 years now. She's also the head of sports at Shivnadar School, has previously been a guest lecturer at Miranda College, and has also been the head coach at St. Stephen's College, and has actually been probably the youngest player to represent Indian women's basketball at all age groups. Well, that's quite a lot of accomplishment for one person, Raspreet. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, others. Thank you for having me. And, I'm really excited and looking forward to the session.
No, our pleasure. Raspreet, let's start right from the beginning, right? I believe your father, Mr. Sukhwinder Singh, was himself into sports. Was that the reason that you ended up being a sports person yourself, or you were yourself excited by sports?
I think genetically, of course, yes, because like you said, my father is an established sports person. He was a long distance runner, and he's also played basketball in his universities, and he's played for Delhi University and Delhi State. But I can tell you that he never forced me into sports. I just picked up being athletic unconsciously because I know my dad could leave or miss a meal, but not miss his workouts. So I think I've grown up seeing him so addicted to working out and so addicted to lead a healthy and a fit life that unconsciously I started developing those little motor skills which we need to develop at a younger age. And that really helped me to, help me to pick up sports and something which I became passionate about later in life.
But so in India, especially, we a lot of times notice, right? Kids are not encouraged to be in sports. But I'm imagining that would be very different for you, right? Given the family.
I think, Adarsh, I always say this even at the talks and wherever I go for little interaction with everyone, especially where parents are there. I think both my parents and my family hold together, I was raised as how a child is supposed to be raised, irrespective of the gender. So that has played a humongous role that I'm sitting in front of you right now. If not for my parents, if not for the ideology, if not for the freedom, if not for the trust, belief which they showed, and so much love they showered on me. And it was an unconventional field I was choosing into, right? Every parent, and very rightly so, are always worried of the profession or how individual you're going to become for the nation. So I think with that, they just took a leap of faith, and that just worked. And I acknowledged that from the very beginning. I could understand that from very early stage in my life. So yes, upbringing has been, like I said, how a normal upbringing of a child is supposed to be, so that they can dream, so that, you don't have to cut anyone's wings. You don't have to tell your children, you cannot do this. So I never got a cannot or never from my family. And that I think really pushed me to just keep going forward, because I knew if my parents have a fair amount of belief in me, I can conquer the world.
That's
so that was the mindset which I was grown up with.
Cool. You've now been playing for the Indian national team for the last 17 years. And how have you seen basketball in India evolve in that time frame?
See, of course, it's a gradual process, Adarsh. I wouldn't say that it's an overnight journey. It was very different when I just started playing for the country. So we were, say, ranked around 12th or 13th in Asia. And I think 2007 was the year which you even mentioned in my introduction. That was the year when I played for the country in 3 age categories, making a record, which was under 18, under 21 young women, and senior India. And I was in 12th grade from a regular CBSE Delhi oriented school. So, that was the year when in all 3 categories, India was acclaimed 6th in Asia, which for us was a huge deal because, almost jumping 6 to 7 positions, it's not easy. But a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of planning was put in place for us to reach where we were. And we were a great bunch of players. And Of course, we maintained that for good decade. And now we are, shifting back from say 6 to 8 position in between. But that has been fifth is what we came closest in Asia. I know it sounds not like you're not at the top or something like that, but of course, when you compare and when you know these powerhouses like China, Japan, the philosophy, the training, the planning, the professionalism, all that adds up to what a country and what this particular sport is doing. But like I said, now is the time when our youngsters have got so much exposure that players from India, both girls and boys, are getting an opportunity to go and play in NCAA division in the United States. So if you see from that, trajectory from where I started and from the exposure the kids have now, I think we've come a long way. And there's a huge amount of long way to go.
Sure. Basketball globally is obviously one of the most popular sports, right? Especially due to NBA. What do you think are some of the reasons it's not as popular in India yet? And what are probably some of the things we could do as a country, as a culture, to support the game further?
I think, Adarsh, I would like to answer this in two parts, if you allow me to. So, one is, of course, it's a lot to do with the coverage. It's a lot to do with who, and when I say coverage, it's ought to happen that cricket has such a strong private body, which is BCCI, and I give all the credit to them that their planning and execution and the professionalism they've got into the sport is unmatched to any other sport you name in the country. But that's been done single-handedly by one federation, I think, and that should become the model for other sports and for other federations to take on. Go forward from there. But of course, it's easy for us to say, and I'm sure executional point, it becomes very difficult for them. But just coming back to the, sport being famous, I think it will only happen when a lot more youngsters will be picking up the sport. And that will only happen when they see a growth path in front of them. Like I said, even getting to the universities, etc. Now people have started getting exposure. Now they got to know a little bit about the sport. It's growing, but not at the pace it's supposed to be. But just one word answer, if I have to give you to this question, is the moment we get professionalism into the sport at a huger level and not just restricted to few public sector units like railways and ONGC, or children have to look up to a professional league. They have to have something up and running so that there has to be hope, there has to be a dream. So of course you need professionalism in the sport, and I think federation is working really hard. If not for this COVID year, basketball league would have launched already in India. But I think sometimes some things just has to wait. So yeah.
No, in fact, there are many times when I talk to friends, basketball at some levels is also probably one of the easiest games to play, right? All you need is a ball and a hoop for kids to get started, right? Obviously, in terms of becoming good at it, it takes time. But just for the fun aspect, all you need is just that hoop and a ball.
From what you're saying, this infrastructural point of view, of course, it is the easiest to play, because even if you in the beginning don't have a hoop and you've got a ball, you can still do a ball handling, you can do passing, you can still do a lot more things. And it is not an infrastructural point of view expensive sport in India. Why? Because we don't always focus on indoor courts where basketball is supposed to be played. Yeah. But saying that, you're right, every college, every school, most of them, they have basketball courts because it's such an easy, sport to, of course, pick up. But you're right. It is immensely technical.
Just not talking about playing of the game, obviously.
Yeah.
Cool. So we were talking about youngsters getting excited by the game and professionalism. So how does it feel being in a household where you and both your husband are involved with the game, where he's your trainer as well? How did you guys end up meeting, and how does it feel like, talking basketball all the time, or you guys stay away from basketball while you are at home?
So, basketball, as I'm sure a lot of people who know me and who follow me will know, that is a common love between me and Ramaditya. and we met in college. It was basketball was the reason why we fell in love with each other. Of course, because we both were so good at it, we became so competitive. But we knew that. So we met 13 years back. So I'm married for 5 years now. But I think Brahmaditya is the reason why for my streak. He's actually the reason for me to be of the part of the Indian team for so long. It's because he pushes me every day just to become a better version of myself, not only on the court, but I think unconsciously he also does that off the field. So I owe and I respect him a lot for what he's, of course, sacrificed. And Adarsh, I think I'm getting into a very emotional self right now, but it's very easy to be proud of the fact, or especially in India, for a male counterpart, to be proud of a female counterpart. It doesn't come naturally. It has to be a result of your strong upbringing and your strong character. And I think because Brahmaditya gets that strong character in him and the respect for women in him is humongous, that all these things just adds up, and he just wants me to grow, to be happy, and to keep playing basketball for India because he knows my happiness lies there. So, and now coming to your part where talking basketball all day, not really, because it's not just the basketball which is common. We also work at the same place. I'm also his boss. So, so we've got a very, a huge sort of understanding where we do not bring work at home and we don't bring home at work.
That's phenomenal. Kudos to him for being such a supporting husband, and helping you achieve your dreams. You're also currently involved with NBA around the hoop. So how does it feel being on the other side, analyzing the game versus playing the game?
I've been a part of this show for past 3 years, and I think initially when I was stepping into it, I wasn't really sure whether if I can do this, or if I am a camera person, or how is it to analyze the sport, and that too for the biggest sporting league in the world and the most successful one, which is National Basketball Association in US. But to my pleasant surprise, I just took to it naturally. Of course, understanding the game bit, talking about the game bit was not difficult at all. I think what I was most skeptical about was how I'll react in front of the camera, in front of those lights, where I've always been there, physically actively playing, but not sitting in one place and just. So that was something which I was a little skeptical about. But of course, the team helped me a great deal. And Brahmaditya again comes into a picture here because he's a huge NBA fan, not from today, but for past 20 years. So he used to be my guide and trainer even there. And so yeah, it's been an amazing journey with NBA around.
So going back to the Indian basketball team, how's the team atmosphere like? What are some of the team rituals that you guys follow? Give us some sort of an insider account for people who are, you would like to know.
We of course we do a lot of team bonding, and that's sort of my formal answer to your question. So informally we are bound by a Chandragupta Hall code. So whatever we do in the dressing room stays in the dressing room, but I can always share, and I'm sure my team will be okay sharing this. I hope they will be. We are a really fun-loving team. We try and pick each other's morale high just all the time, and especially before a challenging game or something which we've been preparing for so long. So we love to sing, we love to dance, we're just a fun-loving team. And we like to have a lot of fun. We like 100% involvement while having a lot of fun. Not a single one is excluded or made or allowed to sit out of that sort of zone. So that's all I can share from the dressing room with you. But yes.
Great. We've spoken about the last 17 years of basketball in India. What do you see the future holding, right? What do the next 10 years look like for basketball in India?
See, one thing is for sure, I know you might feel that I'm being repetitive, but it's a huge deal that children from India in a sport like basketball are getting 100% scholarship to be in a Division 1 or a Division 2 college in NCAA division, right? I'm saying it is good for even growth of basketball in India, because of course, when they're going and playing in the United States, when it comes to, when the country calls, they come back and play for the nation. So they just spread the awareness, and we have to, I think as Indians and as human beings, we have to be accepting of the fact that learning can never stop, and what they can learn from physically being there, being a part of them, and they get the same things back to their state team or district team. I'm not even saying just the national team, right? Because national team is the most professional one. Probably we do most of it what they've been taught at a very young age. But I'm saying just to get that culture back at the district level, at the school level, at the state level, that is going to be hugely impactful for the growth of basketball in country.
What is the one pivotal moment or pivotal instance from your life which defines you, right? Any story that you would like to share on that?
I'll start from the beginning. I think I was 11 years of age when my dad took me to Talkatore Stadium, where a Asian basketball championship for under 21 women was taking place. So I just randomly, he just took me, like, come, I'll show you how our Indian girls are doing and how they're playing. And I had no idea about, okay, what Indian team, what sports. So I hadn't even picked up the sport that well, but I tagged along with him. So, and there, Adarsh, I remember as it was yesterday. That is how fresh that memory is in me, when I was standing on the stands in the audience and I just saw our Indian team play against Japan. I think that was the time when I had set my eyes on that Indian jersey, on the blue jersey, yeah, coincidentally wearing it too. So I think I had a dream and a goal which was set fairly early in my life, which was being 11 years. And anyone would ask me, okay, what do you want to become? What do you want to do in life? I would just say, I want to play for India. I want to play basketball for India. That's all I see myself doing. That's all I want myself to do. But of course, that came with a huge package, because I'm still not a professional player. I'm a passion-driven player who's been playing for the country for past 17 years. But a lot of effort and a lot of reason goes to my dad and my coach for that, because they were headstrong that we are so proud of the fact that you're playing for the country, but that cannot come at the cost of your academics. So just that sort of balance which I had to create between basketball and academics, then between basketball and my work. So I think that is something which I learned at a very early stage. And of course, when that dream was accomplished of playing for the nation, of wearing that jersey, of representing, billions of people, then comes the next dream, which was receiving a medal, nothing less than a gold medal and a podium finish. So, that feeling when we got to live that feeling in 2011 in Asian indoor South Asian Beach Games, where I talk about it and I know my goosebumps. I just feel that it's so surreal. The feeling can only be lived. It's so hard to explain that, but I'll try my best. So that has been another pivotal moment in my life, which has driven me to play till date. And I think will drive me for another 5 years or 10 years by God's grace. And if everything remains the way it is. That was when we were on the podium, national anthem was playing, our national flag was going up, the whole world standing, whoever was there from the different continents, on our national anthem, and us receiving the gold medal will always stop all the pivotal moments I will or I've had till now.
No, that's quite surreal indeed. In fact, I used to play cricket growing up as a child and became second in Punjab school games. And I remember that being such a big moment of my life. And I can only imagine what playing for the country and winning something for the country would feel like, right? Here I was happy winning something for my district. So
yeah, I mean, that's great. And I think that's what sports does to each one of us. It allows us to set goals. It allows us to keep working hard, and it allows us to celebrate. So
absolutely. Great. So Raspreet, before we end, we'd like to do a quick fire of 3 questions with you, which we ask all our guests. So yeah, let's get started with that. So first is, who are the 3 Indian women who inspired you?
First, and the one who will top it will be my mother. I think it's, if not for her sacrifices, there would be no Raspreet Sidhu sitting in front of you. Always from behind, always at behind the scenes, never taking any credit. But I will not, devoid her for giving all the credit. I am who I am, majorly because of her. Then MC Mary Com, because even winning a world, being consistent and being top number one in the world after having 2 or 3 kids, that is phenomenal. That just inspires me every day, and I think that inspires not just me but a lot of Indian other women and athletes as well. And third would be my childhood love, who will always stay very close to my heart, would be Kalpana Chawla.
Which are the 5 apparel staples that you have that you always have with you?
This will be, first one would be a very obvious answer, which would be my t-shirt and shorts. I think I lived more than half of my life in that already in these past 30 years. And so I love business suits. I can feel like a boss lady in a business suit. That just brings in the feel altogether. And I'm also, that's not a lot of people know this, but I have huge love for dresses. So all sorts of dresses, and yeah, so more or less is these, and tank tops.
Great. And the last one is, what would be your advice to all the women or young athletes watching us today who want to, make a career in sports?
It's always been, and it'll always be, do not worry about the result. And don't let the result stop you from putting 100% efforts. Because nothing will be achieved if you don't work hard for it. But before that, dream big. What has worked for me is, that will always be my advice: dream big, visualize yourself in that dream. I visualize myself for those 4 years playing for the India in the Indian jersey, where I wasn't even close to getting there. But once you put your heart and soul into anything, there's no one can stop you but your own self. And I think limitless dreaming is what I wish to every individual watching this session and beyond. Because how can even sky be the limit when there are footprints on the moon, right? This just stays with me. So yeah, just dream on, dream big, keep believing in yourself. Do not allow anyone to tell you that you cannot, because trust me, you can.
Thanks, Raspreet. It has been an absolute pleasure, especially for a sports buff like me. So thanks for taking out the time, and wish you all the best, and hope you keep playing for the Indian team for a long time to come.
Thank you so much, Adarsh. It was really heartening and loved the conversation. Thanks for having me once again. Have a nice day.